Welcome to the Alliance of Nerds, the podcast where we talk about just about anything nerdy. I'm Michael, the connoisseur of Star Trek and Magic the Gathering stuff.
I'm Cameron. I am the resident dungeon master and Star Wars expert.
My name's Nick. I'm a pretty big Marvel fan. I play a little bit of Magic as well, and D&D and other such games.
And I'm Joe. I love horror movies and most video games.
Alright, so this being our first podcast about nerd stuff, I think we should probably discuss what is a nerd, what defines a nerd. Has the definition of it changed in the last 50 years or so since it originated?
So, the actual definition of a nerd is a foolish or contemptible, can't pronounce that word, person who lacks social... Yeah, that too.
So you're a nerd if you can't pronounce the definition automatically.
No, you should be a nerd if you can.
Oh, that's true.
Oh,
yeah,
so
you're true.
I am a nerd, okay.
So
Yeah.
you can't... So, Nick, you're out of this podcast.
Oh, shit. Okay, so, well, that's not it. Who also lacks social skills or is boringly studious.
Okay.
Okay. But, see, I feel
That's
like...
very much not the modern nerd definition.
Right. I think it's
Correct.
changed. I think it's been redefined, and I think that definition more fits a geek. See, I think a geek is someone who's overly studious and is just like really smart and book smart and just reads books all day. Math books specifically.
Specifically math books.
Yeah.
Doesn't read any
So
of
then
them.
I wouldn't be a geek,
No.
despite reading a lot of books.
Right. That's like a bookworm, different thing.
See, looking up the definition of a geek, it's also very similar. An unfashionable or socially inept person.
You have to be unfashionable to be a geek.
Yeah,
See, I feel like some geeks...
I guess you're
are very
fashionable maybe to other geeks, though. Like, you got your big glasses
Oh,
and your
yeah,
braces, your
right.
plaid
That's
shirt.
true.
You got that tape on the glasses, man?
Oh, yeah.
Right,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And the plaid shirt's tucked in, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah, and you,
You
got
have your your pen and your pencils in the pocket.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you have like a little thing to go on the bottom of the pen too to prevent it from coming out or something?
What are you talking
I have no idea what you're talking about, but...
Yeah, I have no idea what that is.
Pretty sure that was a thing that...
It's a thing.
Geeks,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so Cam knows what I'm talking
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But definitely the nerd definition has changed to more like you're very passionate about a specific subject and you're super knowledgeable, I think, about that subject too. Can we agree here on
I
this?
can agree with that, and I think it's safe to say that even if it's a non quote unquote nerdy subject,
Oh yeah,
you can
like
still
if
be a
you're
nerd. Yeah.
yeah, you can be a sports nerd. Like
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
totally into football and know about all the players, like statistics and everyone's names and how the plays go, and you're still a nerd. I think it's definitely cool to be a nerd, you know?
Do you think there's anything that, even if you have a mild interest in it, it just automatically just stamp on your forehead, nerd?
Star Wars.
They're like mainstream nerd things now, like Star Wars or MCU stuff that...
Absolutely, Marvel is just...
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, 100%.
See, I like...
Marvel's kind of tough. I would say yes for the comics, but I mean the movies have become so mainstream that like I feel like it's hard to qualify that as specifically a nerdy thing to.
Well, I think if you've seen all what is there 23, 24 films,
I think it's 20.
I think you can whatever. I think if you've seen all of those, I think you're a nerd. But if you've only gone to the theater like 4 or 5 times over
for like the
10
Avengers
years,
one or something.
yeah,
like that,
I don't think I'd say that's not quite a nerd.
Okay. Do you think Marvel has helped change the definition of a nerd?
Marvel specifically, I think just culture has changed because nerds like growing up in the 90s, they're like adults now. So it's like they're making movies and they're making these things that everyone's consuming now, you know?
Right.
Very true. So to them, it's still the nerdy things that they loved and enjoyed. To us, it's just sort of every day.
They just do
Just
such a
normal,
good
yeah.
job at it that it's...
I mean, at this point, we're getting like 3 Marvel movies a year. It's like it's literally part of the norm.
yeah,
Oh,
it's insane.
we're getting more.
Yeah, more coming.
Speaking of which, we got some
There you go, good transition.
Marvel MCU release MCU 4.
MCU Phase 4, yep.
Phase 4. Oh, jeez.
So what is everyone's favorite upcoming movie for Phase 4.
Movie?
So far. Movie.
Just specifically, movies.
Specifically movies. Let's ignore the TV show.
Okay. Well, depends. Like the graphic that they released, or they also mentioned.
You could talk about the other confirmed.
Okay. Fantastic Four and Mutants for me, 100%. I've wanted them like a part of the MCU for so long, and after Dark Phoenix just came out, which I've heard is not great.
Yes, I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it either. I haven't seen. What was the last X-Men film I saw? Days of Future Past, I think.
So you didn't see Apocalypse?
No, I didn't see Apocalypse. Yeah. Well, how was Apocalypse?
Not the best.
It was.
I don't think I saw it.
It was an okay movie. The end of it was kind of wrecked the Dark Phoenix a little bit, I think. Just busted it out straight away.
Yeah, it did have a scene where it sort of revealed the Phoenix a little bit within her, before she actually got the Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
The plot of Dark Phoenix, so...
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a little... I don't know. But it wasn't terrible compared to some of the... It certainly was not The Last Stand. I'll give it that.
No. Sure. But, yeah, Fantastic Four and Mutants for me, 100%.
I will give Apocalypse, though, my favorite scene in that movie, which is one of my favorite scenes in a lot of Marvel movies, was the scene with Quicksilver.
I have seen that, yeah.
To the song of, what was it, Sweet Dreams.
It's a Eurythmics song.
What was that?
By the Eurythmics.
Yeah, by the Eurythmics, Sweet Dreams, yeah. That was a great scene.
I think my favorite upcoming is gotta be Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Really?
I just really like Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm. As like the character or the film itself?
The character, but I think both, but definitely the character. I just think he's kind of like the coolest. Like he's got like I don't know, he's got like weirder powers.
It's a possibility, to like explore a lot of I don't know, just a lot of different realms and whatnot.
Right, and the fact that it's going to be like horror-ish is interesting because I've just never seen a Marvel movie that's a horror movie. So,
a little side note on that: who do you think the villain of such a horror movie would be? Because I had a couple different predictions on what they could go.
At the end of Doctor Strange 1, Mordo turned like villain, so I feel like
obviously I think Mordo will be a protagonist.
Yeah, that'd be the next logical step.
I'm assuming there will be another main protagonist, so it wouldn't just be Mordo.
Sure.
If it's going to be a horror related movie.
Okay, what are you thinking then?
My prediction was that they were either going Shurma-Gorath, which is like a huge cosmic entity, right, in the comics, which is a very scary. It almost kind of looks like a beholder, right?
Oh, it's like based on a Lovecraft god or whatever.
Yes, so they could go like the whole monsters route with all I don't know, just different dimensions, or I really want them to go the route of the villain Nightmare, right? Which I don't exactly know how the dream dimension works, but there is such a thing as the dream dimension, and I think it's easy to assume what Nightmare's abilities do.
Nightmare.
So when I heard horror route, I was thinking that that was pretty much the two main possibilities for the plot of the movie.
Okay.
Basically monsters or some...
What's the subtitle for Doctor Strange?
Doctor Strange Nightmare?
Madness in the Multiverse.
Oh, okay.
Or the Multiverse of Madness, one of those two.
Okay, sure. I guess that could probably make sense.
What I'm looking at literally says Nightmare, so...
Oh,
I wasn't joking about that. I was just looking at the wrong thing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, it's not called Nightmare. It's definitely Madness in the Multiverse or Multiverse of Madness, one of those two.
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Yep, that's what it's called.
So
So you don't think Man-Thing will be making an appearance?
I mean, he certainly could. Man-Thing could certainly make it. What I would love to see is Man-Thing make an appearance to Deadpool, for being completely honest.
To Deadpool? So,
Speaking of Deadpool, do you think they're gonna keep him on, or are they gonna?
I definitely think they're gonna keep Deadpool going. I don't know if they're gonna make him MCU.
Okay,
How
like
many-
just keep them completely separate.
How
Yeah.
can they just continuously make Deadpool movies though? Like, how many Deadpool movies can you have?
How many did?
I mean,
Honestly, as many as Ryan Reynolds.
the dude. There's a lot of weird Deadpool stories, man. There's a
Sure.
lot they can just touch on. Like they haven't even talked about him being in love with death or anything like that. So
But at that point,
Brackets.
then it's like, why not make a TV show if you're going to keep it on for that long? Making
Well, they
complex
were they
stories?
were talking about making a Deadpool TV show, which was going to be made by oh shoot, he was in Spider-Man. Homecoming.
John Favreau.
No, not John Favreau. He's a rapper too, or not a rapper, but he goes by a different name in his music career.
Oh, Donald Glover.
Yes, Donald Glover.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I actually read some of the script for the opening for the pilot episode, and it was fucking hilarious. I don't know why they didn't go through with it.
Don't know. I mean, Disney Plus could always have more TV shows. I'm sure. So
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I'm sure they'll continue making TV shows for.
yeah, because we're getting
Assuming these ones do good.
I assume some of them will. They're yeah.
Well, so while we're still not too far behind the Doctor Strange topic, I read that Wanda, Scarlet Witch, was going to be in Doctor Strange,
In that film as well.
right?
Yeah.
And the TV show was going to
Disney Plus. Yes.
somehow relate to that movie.
Well, it's deals with Scarlet Witch and Vision's romance, so it's obviously set
Right, set before.
right? But I imagine it could go past
would.
as well.
No, I meant more like like the flow of Scarlet Witch's character would kind of go from TV show into that movie.
Yeah. I gotcha.
So, Joe, you got a favorite upcoming movie?
Honestly, I'm not sure which ones are movies. I'm not too big into this. So
What you're saying is you're not a nerd?
what I'm saying is I'm not a Marvel nerd.
I mean,
I
I just knew
definitely say
Doctor Strange was a movie. That's
I think my favorite upcoming movie is going to be Blade.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's
I'm really hoping they make it rated. If it's not the first rated R movie, then that's fine. Meaning Black Widow would be the first rated R movie.
right.
But regardless,
we-
I think. Continue.
Sorry, go ahead. No, go.
I was just gonna say, I think Blade needs to be a rated R movie.
Oh, I mean,
To be done well.
Yeah. The past Blades were R, so it
Right.
makes sense. And we know rated R films, superhero films with Deadpool and Deadpool 2 do pretty well. So,
Logan.
And Logan.
oh yeah, jeez, of course.
So yeah, there's I don't know. Besides advertising to a larger audience, there really is no reason they can't make it a rated R movie.
Right. Well, how well did the original Blade movies do?
The original Blade movie did very well.
Yeah.
I thought the first Blade movie did really well, and then it kind of went downhill as the storylines went downhill. But
Sure. 131 million at the box office. So
Scale that for
from 98 was when it was released. So
So that was before the superhero genre boom.
right, exactly. So I mean, if it had that like MCU banner, I'm sure it could easily make more than
Easily
that.
do a lot better. Right.
Yeah.
And Blade being a lesser known character at the time
still.
also could have impacted it.
I also feel like Blade isn't a name that you need to know as a comic book.
Sure. Yeah.
Because it's just, oh, Blade. That sounds interesting. What's that about?
It is a very intriguing name.
I mean, Mike, do you know what Blade is?
No.
Okay.
I don't know what Blade is. All right, so
Good snipe. Good snipe.
oh, there we
Yeah.
go.
Would you go see a movie just called Blade?
I mean, once I saw it was a Marvel movie, I'd go. But
All right, so Mike, not knowing what Blade is about, guess what Blade is about?
I'm guessing it's a dude with some blades.
You're not
Or-
I
wrong.
mean, you're not wrong.
Very
You're
astute.
not wrong.
I'm also picturing that he's got a motorcycle. I don't know why.
He's got a what?
He goes fast. That's what I'm picturing.
I would say he
Well,
runs pretty fast. I don't think he has super speed.
It's
but-
sort of supernatural powers, sort of.
Blade's an
Because
interesting.
there's stuff related to the new supernatural related to him that he does.
right.
Got any more guesses?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to put you towards a specific dog.
It's so his he's half human.
Right, he's half
The
human,
other half of
something.
him is it's not mythological. A fantasy creature?
So that's why I said supernatural.
Oh,
Medieval
supernatural, yeah,
legend.
okay. So definitely something you're aware of.
I don't know.
So Blade is a vampire movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Well, he's a half vampire who hunts vampires.
Right. He is a half vampire. He hunts full vampires.
Mm-hmm.
He's called a daywalker because he can walk around the day, obviously.
Yeah.
Funny how that works.
Yeah, great.
So are we daywalkers too?
Well, you have vampire?
Well, yeah, that depends. Where you bitten?
No, but I can walk around in the day.
You leave your house?
Not
No,
a nerd.
no.
Kicked out.
Oh.
I walk around my house.
Okay, got it.
Oh, you leave the shades open. Okay, that's fair.
So
So-
speaking of the MCU stuff, we have the TV shows as well,
Yes.
which we sort of mentioned with the WandaVision stuff. We were discussing a bit earlier about the logos of some of them.
Oh, yeah.
Not looking so great.
I disagree.
One of them in particular.
Really, you disagree?
I would say there was a few of them that didn't look so great, to be honest.
Yeah.
But one of them really stands out.
I think you
Well,
just
the one
don't
that
understand
really
the
stands
art.
out, I particularly like because of its uniqueness in variation of fonts.
Exactly. What's wrong with it? I'm not seeing it.
Obviously, we're talking about the Loki logo.
The Loki logo is quite unique.
Yeah, that's a word for it.
Unique is a word you can use.
You can
It's-
read it. It looks cool. They got.
It's 4 different fonts, 4 different colors in the 4 different letters.
Well, he's the god of mischief. It's got to be mischief.
Right.
I mean,
yeah,
a
like
6-year-old put it together.
it does kind of look like a 6-year-old. Well, I don't know if a 6-year-old could quite make that O, but
I mean,
I couldn't make that O. Yeah, let's be real. And I'm like over 6.
if you just gave them like a bunch of letters and a bunch of styles, they could pick that.
Sure.
I think
I
they
mean,
just pressed the randomize button.
yeah, I can see what they're going for. It just does not look very good to me.
It doesn't have a unifying theme, so it just doesn't look right to me.
I get the I and I get the O and the gold and green, right? Obviously green color and that bronzish gold has the the nice Asgardian touch to it.
Sure.
The stone colors are a little off-putting.
Yeah. I'm not,
Yeah,
I'm like,
I don't know what's going on with that K.
Yeah, the
Cracked
K is actually
concrete
quite
L,
disgusting.
and the K is just
Come to think of it, I don't know why the K is so fat in all of it, except for the top,
Except for the,
top right.
Yeah.
It's a little weird.
If
But
I
Nonetheless, Loki is the #1 show I'm excited for.
I think that's just how you tell that it's going to be funny.
And what we know from that is it's going to be following Loki after he grabs the Tesseract in 2012 from Endgame.
Right. So
yeah.
predictions, anyone?
Obviously,
Obviously, I'm assuming they're not going to hire Chris Hemsworth to come in and Thor. So
Why
can
do
we
you-
assume that Loki? Oh,
why not?
Why would you assume that? Yeah.
expensive.
I
Sure.
mean, most of them are.
I think
Well,
Disney has the budget for that.
I think they do.
That is kind of fair. Though. I would probably not.
Well,
regularly.
actually, come to think of it, now that they've announced the Thor 4 movie, yeah, maybe I am mistaken on that.
But it's to be fair, like there's a lot of shows that they have that they don't like Agents of Shield, where they don't really include other heroes very often, even though they easily could. Like,
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is horrible when it comes to
Yeah, but that-
including the mainstream characters.
Yeah, but these shows, at least most of them, include movie characters instead of like
all
the,
of them include.
all of them. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
I mean, even some of the shows are introducing movie villains, or should I say, reintroducing movie villains. As
Sure.
Falcon and Winter Soldier is bringing in Zemo as
Yep.
one of the protagonists.
Who is really fucking good in Civil War?
Right. Not exactly comic book accurate.
No,
but,
not even close. But
the spoilers that they were revealing seem to show a more comic book accurate route.
mhm.
At least a comic book costume accurate route. as it showed a little bit of a purple lined mask.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
But
Is
but
he-
nonetheless, yes, I did still like the Civil War. So
Yeah. Arguably one of the best MCU films.
I
The
would
other.
definitely argue that, but
Okay. Argue against or for?
against.
Okay.
you didn't like Civil War.
I didn't not like Civil War, but I don't think it was one of the best.
Okay.
Where would you put it in a top 5 ranking?
No, I'd put it in the top 10, but not a top 5.
There are 5 MCU movies you think are better than Civil War. Wow.
Yep,
Number 1 is Thor: Dark World.
Of
of
course.
course.
That's not an
Alright,
argument.
automatically, you are kicked from this argument.
Okay.
No more Marvel input from Ken.
Okay. All right. I'll just back off.
I'll just mute myself.
Hop off my beef, man.
Pop off my beef. What kind of nerd are you?
I don't know why I just thought that.
I haven't heard that since like fucking middle school.
But yeah, me neither.
Which was like last year.
Anyway,
But really, the issue I'm seeing here is that everyone's focusing on all these Marvel TV shows, and those just aren't the good TV show that came out. I'm thinking Star Trek Picard is really the thing that we should be focusing on here.
Oh, yeah?
Okay.
Track Picard, okay. And why is this?
Oh, well, it's freaking amazing. Let me propose a question to you. All right? Have you ever watched a show that's already ended, and you're looking through, you're watching, and you finally watch the last episode, and you're like, man, like, I just wish there was more of this.
I have.
Absolutely.
Come
right?
to think of it, I have.
And so when I
It's
watch a
called The
show
Office.
like Star Trek The Next Generation, right, and you watch the whole thing, and it's like 7 seasons long, you finally watch the last episode, and it was like, oh, this finished 10 years before I was born. And it's like, there's definitely nothing else coming out for this. And then you get a nice new show, like, what it's so 25, 30 years later or whatever, that has 4 of the original cast characters in the show. And it actually looks good after watching
As
the trailer.
opposed to the old show.
Yeah. Well, no, the old show was good too, but like, it's
But
hard
you said
to.
it actually looks good.
Well, I'm saying like sometimes the expectations for like shows trying to like copy or like
Right.
reboot aren't that successful, which we still don't know whether it will be. But it looks
So is this show a reboot? Or a
no, it's a
continuation?
completely different show, but it just takes place at like years after Star Trek Next Generation, after Deep Space Nine Voyager, I think. And it's like Picard is in retirement, and he's asked to do like an interview, and it's basically some girl approaches him and is saying like, I believe that I'm safe with you. Like, she's like, I have this, everything. I think the quote is like, everything in my body is telling me that I'm safe with you. And she thinks she's in danger. And the trailer doesn't really reveal who she is or like what her relation is.
That's good. Don't
But-
want to have spoilers and trailers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That
for
never
sure.
happens.
I got some theories. And so the shows that Picard is trying to convince like the current admiral in Starfleet to protect this girl, that she's in real danger or something. But so my theory is that she was assimilated by the Borg at some point. And
Because
this-
there is a like destroyed Borg cube in the trailer.
yeah, there's the Borg cube. There's
Yep.
the girl from 7 of 9
Seven
from
of Nine,
Voyager, who's
Yep.
was assimilated by the Borg and rescued. And the fact that Picard you've never seen this girl in any Star Trek, as far as I know. But she said one of the things she says, "Do you recognize me?" And he's like, "Yeah, I kind of recognize you." And so for those of you who don't know the Borg, it's like a collective hive mind. If you're assimilated by the Borg, you become part of this hive mind. Everyone thinks together. So that would be how he would know her, is if they were both part of the same hive mind.
Right, because Picard was assimilated by the Borg at one point.
And Genesis, I think?
One of the films, yeah.
No,
That's quite the
Nemesis.
prediction.
Star Trek Nemesis.
see, I would like to bring up. Have you seen Star Trek Discovery at all?
I've seen some of it. I don't actually have a platform on which to watch it.
That's fair.
So I've managed to watch some of it anyway.
By other means.
It seems pretty good. It's weird that they're coming out with a new Star Trek show after that one's still running.
Well, they've done that before.
Yeah,
Voyager and
Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine, yeah.
I've heard a lot about Discovery, that it isn't really like old Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad, but it's different than old Star Trek. So I'm wondering if Picard will be in like theme with Discovery, or will it keep to the roots of how old Star Trek feels?
It very well might mix the two.
So also there's two timelines,
Right, yeah.
which I'm not positive which Discovery is part of actually. But
I think, as far as I know, all the TV shows follow the same
the original
timeline.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the Abrams stuff is completely different.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, I don't know in that case. The other thing that I was reading an article about, which something I had no knowledge of until this, is that, so there's a scene in the trailer where there's a bunch of spaceships. I think they're all like basically hovering in front of Earth. And I didn't think anything of it when I was watching it, but when I was reading the article, they were like, we have no idea what these spaceships are. They're like, they kind of look like Romulans, but Romulus was destroyed in the end of Genesis, so it seems unlikely, and they don't look exactly, they're like different colors, they're not green, and so they're completely unfamiliar, except for so people are predicting that they could be part of what's called Section 31, which, again, I had never heard of, but it's apparently kind of like a secret police of Earth that was created when they first started going to space, and it goes so far back that in Star Trek Enterprise, Lieutenant Reed, who's the security officer on the ship, which is in like 2063 or something, was a member of Section 31, and nobody on the crew knew it until like the end of the show.
Mm.
And so it's this thing where like nobody, like, like Captain Picard, Captain Kirk, whatever, admirals of Starfleet, they don't know it exists. Like, it's just like very few people, probably like the head of Starfleet knows it exists, and that's about it, and the people in it, obviously.
Right.
And it's supposed to be if the Earth is in grave danger, then they come to protect it. Kind of.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's actually the case, but it's pretty cool.
I mean, theorizing is all about being a nerd, because you wanna figure out. We want to be smarter than the writers to figure out what's happening. And if you get it right, it's so what's the word for it?
Satisfying?
Yeah, that one. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty common word.
Especially when you put all your money into a big bet against some other nerds, and then you win.
Oh, did you do that?
No, but I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
I'm not betting money against you.
I would bet money on a movie.
Anyone want to make some bets, some predictions?
Not on this one.
Not on Star Trek.
Not on Star Trek.
Oh, really? Continue.
My prediction is at the end of the trailer, you see what's his name? You see the actor who played Data,
Yeah.
who is alive, but Data was sacrificed himself
Right.
at the end of Nemesis, right?
I think so.
So my assumption is that's not Data, that's just another different android, which he'll be playing
Right.
throughout the series.
What I read also was that he has like a backup of his conscience, basically.
Conscious, yeah.
And so it's just like uploaded into another one. Or it could be like lore that's good or something. But
Well, he has, in Next Generation, he has like a brother or something
yeah, it's like
that.
B5 or something.
Yeah,
Oh,
B4.
yeah.
Yep.
So it could be him too. But
How about the upcoming Quentin Tarantino directed Star Trek movie?
What? I didn't hear about this at all.
Some knowledge on his share.
What's it called?
Yeah, well, as you guys know, the last Star Trek movie was ultimately canceled, right?
Right.
The
I'm not exactly sure why, but unless I'm just completely wrong, I'm pretty sure Quentin Tarantino is going to be directing another Star Trek movie upcoming, and from his words, he is interested in continuing the Chris Pine timeline.
Yep.
Okay.
I got that right now. Interesting.
I'm not sure as to what the movie's going to be about, whether it's actually going to include Chris Pine as Kirk or any of that, but another Star Trek movie in the same universe could be pretty cool.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
The third movie, which the
Beyond.
Yeah.
It was the best of the three, I'd say. So if they keep it going, it could go in a nice direction.
One thing I thought was cool when I was like reading, I got a book on Star Trek today, but when I was looking at through the book is so when they came out with Star Trek the original series, the pilot episode was Christopher Pike was the captain,
Mm-hmm.
and then the directors were basically like, "Oh, we like the plot, get rid of everyone," and they ended up only keeping Spock. And I think it's cool that in the alternate timeline, Christopher Pike is like an admiral, and that he's like
Sure.
a cast member, because it's like in real life, like alternate timeline, he could have been the captain of the Enterprise. You know, like
Right.
So I just think that's kind of cool.
Oh, I just read right here, Tarantino has confirmed the Star Trek movie would be rated R.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, it is a Tarantino movie.
Yeah, it makes sense for a Tarantino movie, but I don't how.
Yes, Star Trek.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's very odd.
The
Yeah.
violence, the language,
Right.
what would make it rated R, I guess is the question.
I guess.
Will it be
Violence.
Django?
Hopefully just language and violence.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to see
reason
like.
for like nudity and
Yeah, I don't. Well, even with the violence, I don't know if I want to see Tarantino violence in a Star Trek film. I feel like that'd be sort of out of genre.
Right.
that's true.
I don't know if you'd want to hear Tarantino language in the Star Trek.
Yeah, like
either.
they're
Also-
it's supposed to be like
also-
orderly,
Also
unless
true, yeah.
unless it's like aliens that they encounter that are violent and they're
Yeah,
like,
they're really just
Sure.
assholes.
yeah, I've used bad language. Maybe they're just like speaking dolphin, you know, like in SpongeBob.
Oh yeah.
Maybe they're fighting dolphins like in SpongeBob.
Oh, like humanoid dolphins?
I don't know. There's just one episode of SpongeBob where like swearing and they make like weird sounds.
Yeah,
like
dolphin noises. Yeah, I know.
The boat-
It's
the
actually
I've seen it.
with the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That's where the dolphins went after so long, and thanks for all the fish
Where'd they go?
Yeah.
boat.
into space, and then they find them in Star Trek.
Yeah.
Wait, actually? Wait.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying there was thing of Star Trek that like they find dolphins in space.
What do you think Star Trek: The Voyage Home is about? It's about the dolphins' voyage home.
Yeah.
Great intro to a movie though for a Hitchhiker's Guide. Just the dolphins break out into song, they fly up into space. It was really quite a shame when they canceled the sequels for that movie, because that's my favorite book series.
Did they only ever make one film? Yeah.
Yep, they only
Yeah, it was only the one.
and I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
I
entertaining.
definitely enjoyed watching it.
I think they only could have made a couple of them because as the books go on, they just get
Weirder.
so weird.
Weirder and weirder. Yeah, they did.
I mean, the first one was pretty damn weird, so.
Yeah,
That's
but
true.
like when you reach like 6 and 7, they're just nearly incomprehensible.
I didn't even know there was 7 Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So I
I knew
think
there-
there's 6 of them written by the original author,
Uh-huh.
and then I think a 7th one. I think the original author passed before he could finish his 7th book, so I think someone came on to finish that 7th novel
Gotcha.
to complete the series.
All I know is I read all of them at one point, and they made sense for a while, and then it was still interesting, but it was just so.
I don't think it's as
strange.
fun if it doesn't make sense, or if it makes sense. I think
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's part of the humor of the movie.
That's,
Yeah,
that's
sure.
what makes it so enjoyable. You're just kind of sitting there saying, "What is happening?
Yeah,
What am I reading right now?
I have a book called that.
What am I reading right now?"
Yeah.
Nice. Hey, what is that book about?
Oh, wait, no. I got the title wrong. It's called What the Hell Did I Just Read? Which is nearly the same.
Close.
That's a horror book. It's John Dies at the End 3.
I didn't know there were multiple John Dies at the end.
I did not. I have not seen the first John Dies.
How many times does he die?
You don't want to know. I can't tell you because it'll
Yeah,
ruin
it's a
it. You have to
spoiler.
wait till the end.
Yeah.
It's a spoiler.
Fair enough.
There's The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. There's 5 books written by Douglas Adams.
Okay, it's 5.
And then the 6th book is written by Ian Colfer, who is like the author of the Artemis Fowl series.
Interesting.
Okay. I got the number wrong then.
I think I read the first Artemis Fowl way back.
They're making a movie of that too.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah. Mhm.
I forgot that existed. So
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think I ever read it.
I don't know if it did either. I forget.
I feel like I read a couple at some point, but
I've seen excerpts, but I've never read it.
This just popped up on my mind. Anyone read the Maze Runner series?
No.
no.
So I was a big fan of the Maze Runner series, and they never made. I just realized they never made the 3rd movie.
Yeah, they made the Scorch Trials, right?
Yeah, they made the Scorch Trials. What the hell happened to the 3rd one?
There's a lot of series of like young adult like movies of recent that's happened to. Like that happened to the Divergent series.
I thought they
I
made
think-
the 3rd one.
No, did they? I felt like they only made the
Oh my
second.
god, they did make the 3rd one. What? This was 2 years ago.
Yeah, they did.
I really need to go see this movie.
I don't see either.
Yeah,
I don't know if I saw
remember being
the
third
first
Divergent
Maze
one.
Yeah, 42% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, that's why they didn't keep making them.
Yeah.
Well, there was no more books. So I think that's a pretty big reason why.
I mean, that's why we haven't heard of them, is because they didn't do well.
Okay, understood. Well, there was a prequel book actually that they came out with, but yeah. Makes
For
sense.
Divergent or for...
Yeah, what are we talking about here?
I'm still talking about
Okay.
this.
Okay. Divergent did come out with a 3rd movie
Yeah, Allegiant.
but that's for the first half of the book, and then because of
They
course,
tried to pull a Harry Potter.
Oh,
yeah,
they pulled
You
out
mean
Hunger Games, actually.
and a Twilight, because the last book always has to be 2 movies for some,
Yeah.
except Hobbit did in 3. Ooh,
Ooh,
Ooh.
yeah,
it was only
which
one,
they
one book.
really needed to do that.
Yeah, I still haven't seen The Hobbit.
There's like an edit of it somewhere online that condenses all 3 movies to one film. That's actually pretty coherent.
It's quicker to read the book.
I also
Oh,
have
also
all the
that.
movies if you want to see
It's
them.
it's not that long of a book, honestly, because it was a children's novel. So
Book's
and
good.
yeah, book's good. And then they made, and then
Looks good.
okay, book's
Job
good.
done.
And then Lord of the Rings came out, and that was way better. Anyway, is it? It's sure it's debatable, but I don't think there's much debate in favor of The Hobbit.
Okay.
Over Lord of the Rings?
Right.
I think it's, well, the Lord of the Rings is much grander and much more exciting as it goes on, but I think The Hobbit is, like, as a nice contained story, I think it is clearer than Lord of the Rings.
Sure.
Maybe, but not better.
I mean, again, it's hard to compare the two because it's 3 books compared to
To one.
one, and
Yeah.
they're a lot. I mean, Lord of the Rings is like all. The reason Tolkien wrote that was because of he was in World War I with 3 friends, and he sort of wrote it dealing with his PTSD and stuff like that. But that's not interesting. So let's talk about something else.
You want
More
to?
boring than the
quiz
Silmarillion.
Oh, okay. Sure, we can do that.
Quiz
Uh,
time.
So, a idea we came up for the podcast is a segment called Geek Out, and I have the game Geek Out here, which it's essentially a nerd trivia betting game. But
It's a geek trivia.
oh,
Yeah, we're gonna
sorry.
get one called
Says
Nerd
it
Out.
on the-
Excuse me. But I'm just going to pull a card, and I'm going to just name one of the topics on the card, and we're going to try and come up with some things that relate to the topic. So I'm going to pull a card here, and let's see. Oh, okay. 2 named animals in video games. The first one that immediately jumps to my mind would be Epona, the horse from the Zelda series, because I think that's pretty iconic in that regard.
That's fair.
I'm really blanking on this.
One of my
Really?
favorite video games growing up was Scooby-Doo Unhinged. So
Oh,
I'm gonna,
sure.
the first one that comes to my mind definitely
Was
Scooby-Doo.
Scooby Doo? Okay.
See, the first thing that came to my mind was Alex from Madagascar. You know, the movies. There was a
Sure.
GameCube game.
Oh, okay.
That game was actually fantastic.
I believe it, to be honest. A Madagascar GameCube game. Come on.
Emperor Cusco as the llama, and Cusco
You're just naming
It's just
Movies?
picking movies.
We're just naming
Turn
movies
the
now.
game.
But
Well, actually, I picked
Damn.
a TV show, but
named animals in a game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of a named animal in like Fallout. Oh, Rex. That's one of the dogs.
That's
and then there's
Toy
dog
Story.
meat.
Oh, in Fallout.
Yeah.
Dog, yeah.
Dog meat,
or
Rex.
dog meat is the main one.
Yeah.
Rex is the one with the robo brain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, from New Vegas.
Yep. What else is there? Huh.
Oh,
It's
God.
actually like surprisingly difficult.
I really am blanking.
No? Okay. Big. Here you go. From the Witcher series, Geralt's horse is called Roach.
Oh,
Speaking
yeah,
of
Roach.
Witcher, recently a trailer came out for the Netflix series. Before I jump into this further, who here knows anything about The Witcher?
I have never played The Witcher.
I've probably seen a trailer of the older games.
Yep. Joe?
I've played about 5 hours of The Witcher 3.
Okay. Well, howdy do. Ain't this going to be exciting? Feel free to ask any questions that come to your mind during this, so this isn't just 15 minutes of me talking at you. So, The Witcher...
Cam, just to start, are you a fan of The Witcher?
Oh, baby.
Alright, now let's get into it.
So,
We'll add it to your name card.
I wouldn't say, yeah. I wouldn't say it's
Witcher.
like one of my favorite, like I haven't delved complete. So The Witcher was originally a series of short stories written by, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this guy's full name, but I'll pronounce his last name, Sapkowski, who is a Polish author. So The Witcher series started with a few short stories and then 5 books written in the 90s following this character called Geralt of Rivia, who is a Witcher. And a Witcher is a monster hunter, essentially, that goes about being hired by separate people to go kill variants of monsters from, like...
Do these monsters include witches?
No. So Witchers are... they're
The hell is this
humans.
game?
Witchers are humans that essentially go through this process of drinking a bunch of potions and stuff like that sort of change their physiology. Jeez, I can't say that word.
Don't worry about it.
But it changes them so they have like heightened senses and heightened strength, and they also become infertile, which is a travesty.
That's a rough.
If I remember right, Witchers are outcast from society. for the
Right.
most
So
part.
they're very much shunned on because they're very weird individuals, but they're still used all the time to go hunt and kill monsters.
Interesting.
Because when you got a monster
Inferno.
problem,
Right. So other like normal people can go hunt monsters, but Witchers are like trained and made specifically to go and kill these monsters. They can also do a tiny bit of magic, where they have these things called signs, where one of them is like they shoot a bit of fire, or it puts up a little shield to protect them from a hit or whatever. And they also have these things called mutagens, where they're like potions, but they drink them and they kill like a normal human, but it sort of like powers them up for a moment to make them even stronger than they are, but they take a toll on the body still. So,
As any game does.
right, exactly.
Can like anyone just become a Witcher by drinking the stuff?
No, so you have to go through. So there are schools of Witchers. Geralt is part of the school of the Wolf, and they all have different like training strategies and stuff like that. But you go through this process called the joining. No, that's Dragon Age.
that's Dragon Age.
Yeah. What is? It's like the trials of the something. I'm blanking on the name right now.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I
It's
know
mentioned.
Ciri is going through it in Witcher 3.
Yeah, there you go. So, essentially, the stories
Trials of the Grasses.
Yes, that's it.
Agent of Grasses.
No, it's Trials of the Grasses. You're right. So these essentially the Witcher series was super popular in essentially just Poland and the surrounding countries because the localization of any of the books were never released until way later. So what happened was they made there was a Witcher movie and a Witcher TV show, but they were completely Polish, so they never were released to a wider audience. Not until CD Projekt Red, who is a game company that all they did pretty much was localize games for Poland. So they take, English games and translate them to Polish, is what they were known for. But Sapkowski sold the rights for not a lot. Where is it? $9,500 to make a Witcher video game, and that was released and just on PC, and it got pretty decent reviews. So they continued the series with Witcher 2: Assassin of Kings, which was released in 2011, which was even better than the first. And then they made Witcher 3: Wild Hunt in 2015, which was it won best game of the year. It was raved about by pretty much everyone that it's very, very good. So that sort of brought Witcher in the limelight, and Sapkowski doesn't really like the games because, he says he doesn't like them because the way their story goes, but I think it's more he's kind of mad that he didn't get, the money.
Compensation.
Yeah, because he didn't ask for royalties when he originally sold the rights. He's like, give me $9,500 up front and you can go ahead and make my game. Because in the past, his the movie and the TV series did horribly. So he's like, yeah, I guess you can make this game for me. And it just blew up, and it's $1 million franchise now.
Right.
So this Netflix series is being made about The Witcher, and it's actually following more the books than the video games. So the books and video games are quite separate, where the games sort of take a couple elements of it takes the characters and it takes the monster hunting and the lore generally, and it uses it to create its own stuff. But the TV show is going to more follow I think what they're doing is a couple of the short stories that were originally released, and that's what that's going to be about. And Henry Cavill, aka Superman, is going to be playing Geralt, which is a very interesting choice.
That is an interesting choice.
Yeah.
I don't dislike Henry Cavill as an actor.
Sure.
I dislike the character of Superman that they have currently.
Oh, and yeah, well, we won't be seeing him anymore because he is not Superman anymore, so that's okay. But essentially, it's I would describe The Witcher as Polish, dark Game of Thrones, which is hard because Game of Thrones gets really fucking dark sometimes. But I say that because it's not just about this dude going monster hunting. It's politics and stuff like that, and dealing with racial tensions between humans and elves and stuff like that. So it's fantasy, high fantasy. It's high fantasy rather than Game of Thrones, which starts low fantasy and then hits high fantasy. So it's high fantasy all the time.
Gotcha.
It's a very interesting game.
Definitely sounds like something I'll watch.
Yeah, it's definitely, I would suggest just taking a gander at it, and if you really like it, go play the games because they're fucking incredible. Which I've only played 2 and 3 because 1 is only PC. I actually just bought it on the Steam sale, so I'm gonna play it at some point. Twisting my words again. At some point.
Have you read the book?
I've read the 2 collection of short stories,
Okay.
Which are 7 or 8 short stories each that follow. They're set before the books, but I haven't read any of the books because there's 5 in the original series, and then there's a 6th one that came out years afterwards. Is sort of a prequel to them anyway. So I know a little bit about them, but I haven't read any of them. So that's why I don't consider myself like a Witcher fanatic, because I still haven't jumped far into them.
So are these monsters like classic fantasy monsters, or are these
Like ghouls and
creatures that are very specific to the Witcher book? Like
Some of them,
something that like wouldn't exactly be recognizable.
some of them are recognizable. Some of them are super weird. Like he fights a lot of like vampires and vampire forms. Like vampires, there's like forms of vampires, like low tier to high tier. Where the-
Cinnamon.
Yeah, exactly. He fights Blade.
Yeah, he fights
Blade. Well, this is interesting.
But there's like essentially the higher tier vampires are just, they look like people, but they can go into this like form of like a giant Batman. Yeah. Well, like a humanoid bat, not Batman.
Turns to the Batman.
No, Man Bat. It's essentially Man
It's a
Bat.
man bat.
Yeah.
There's also like little ghoulies that
Yeah.
run around on the ground, and the griffins. Things
Yep,
like
yeah, you get some
Ghoulies.
griffins. Yeah, cool.
Ghouls.
That there's an assortment of those, and then there's some really weird ones. Like at the end of the trailer, they showed a Kikamore, which is essentially like a giant spider type creature that he's going to be fighting. And then there's the Striga, which is a very famous, like, it's part of the short story, and it's part of the story of the first game that they're going to be diving into. But fantasy, classic fantasy. There's dragons. Yeah, there's tons of dragon shit that comes into that. So
Witcher has always been a game that I've looked at and been like, I'd probably like that game. And I just, like,
Yeah, they're just
yeah,
I'm just not super into that. Like, I always kind of compared it to like Skyrim without really knowing what it is, but just like
it's quite different than Skyrim. So
It's got
I don't know, the swords and like I like guns.
okay,
There's a similar like exploration theme as in Skyrim.
right, sure.
But
you go to
the
certain
combat isn't the same at all. Like
No, it's a third person combat, and it's more like Dark Souls esque, where you do a lot of rolling.
esque. It's,
Yeah.
It's not Dark Souls.
Well,
but
I
it
say
is
esque because rolling.
Yes.
When I think of rolling in video games, I think of Dark Souls, so that's why I
everyone
say
does.
esque. Yeah.
Because
But
you roll.
Yeah. But the combat is very much like I gotta get my potions in order. I gotta get my mutagens in order. I have to get the certain weapon upgrades to fight these guys. So you in the Witcher games, you have two swords. You have a steel sword and a silver sword. The steel sword is for killing people, and the silver sword is for killing monsters. And in the books, it's more you use a steel sword for people and lower tier monsters, but the like real shit, you bring out the silver sword for like super high tier.
Just in case there's any werewolves, you can make sure you're.
Yeah, there's werewolves that they deal with.
It's made out of silver, so you're all set.
Right, exactly.
Does he carry a cross? Oh, wait, no, that's
No,
vampires. Well,
No.
you said there was vampires.
there are vampires. He does not carry a cross.
He uses
He's
the wooden
shunned by
spike
the
for-
church.
Does Jesus Christ exist in the Witcher
Jesus
universe?
Not that I'm aware, but that might be a book thing. So you'd have to dive into there.
Understood.
Yeah. But anyway, that's what The Witcher is about. And I just check out the first episode whenever that comes out, and if you like it,
Yeah.
continue it.
Is that Steam sale still going on?
No,
No, that ended.
the summer sale.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a
Speaking of The
Summer.
Witcher,
Well, with Witcher, the Witcher series, I suggest, either start with 1 or start with 3, because 3 does a little bit of the backstory of 1 and 2, but it's not really necessary, and 3 is like the best one. So if you're gonna do that, either start with 1, and 1, the graphics are not great, even for like 2007.
Right.
So if that bothers you, I'd say just hit 3 first.
Yeah, I can't see myself playing through all 3 games because I just don't
Sure.
play that many solo games. So I'll
Okay.
just jump into 3 if I do it.
All right.
there is a lot of time you can sink into The Witcher.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically
At
3.
Yep.
So
Well, 3.
while.
Yeah, 3 comes with 2 expansions, and I say expansions, not DLC, because they're like whole separate areas of the game that they add. There's 2 of them, and they each have like a lot of hours of content. I think my total playtime for 100%ing the game and the 2 DLCs was something like 200 something hours.
Wow.
So it's a decent amount.
So you're saying if I go for just over 4 days straight, I can...
Yeah, 4 days is 200 hours.
4 days is not 200 hours.
So just over 4 days.
That is way over 4 days.
Oh, that's 100 hours. I mean,
Yeah.
8 days.
Fake
There you
nerd.
go. Fake nerd, can't do math.
Yeah. Well, definitely fake geek. Probably fake.
hmm Alright, what else we got?
So, speaking of The Witcher, there is a
Okay.
Witcher crossover event in Monster Hunter World.
Oh, okay.
And speaking of Monster Hunter World, this September,
Double
DLC
transition.
comes out. Iceborne. So in Iceborne, we're going to a new island in the Monster Hunter universe. So at Monster Hunter World, separate from every other Monster Hunter game pretty much,
hmm
travels to a new land called the New World, where there's all new kinds of monsters, and they're all snazzy. And I know that Mike has played Monster Hunter World, because we have played it together.
I have done that.
So,
I played
there.
a little bit of Monster Hunter World, but it didn't really grab me that much, so I didn't play any more of it, unfortunately.
which is fair. It's not the game for everyone.
Yeah.
Similar to The Witcher, it is kind of Souls-like in that you can roll attacks.
Right.
But anyway, so Worlds is set in the New World. Traveled from the Old World. But World was kind of a disappointment. Not like a huge disappointment, but a little bit. In that it wasn't as expansive as people wanted it to be. It was a large game, and they've been updating it with new monsters. Kind of new monsters. They updated a few new monsters in, and then like just super powered some of the old ones to fill in time pretty much until Iceborne comes out. Iceborne is going to move away from the New World a little bit into another island near the New World, which is an ice island pretty much. And they're bringing back all kinds of monsters from the old games. They're bringing back, it's like a T-Rex that has a sword tail, another T-Rex looking thing that has explosive slime on its arms. It's just going to be it's going to be really cool. And yeah.
Add some more stuff to grind.
More stuff to grind, new mechanics, new weapons, new armor, all kinds
Is there
of
more,
stuff.
are they adding like new types of weapons? Because I know there's like your classic like one-handed sword, two-handed sword. Is there anything like that they're adding?
I don't think there is. I've been trying to stay away from like
Spoilers.
the new stuff, so I
Yeah,
don't
sure.
get spoiled. But I know they're adding new mechanics. They're adding new like weapon designs. I've already forgotten what you said because my brain doesn't work.
Like types, like the types of weapon. What is there, like 13 or something?
There is
or is it
13.
20? Yeah, 13 types of weapons. Are they
13.
adding like a 14?
I don't think so. They are
Okay.
not adding new weapons, but they are adding like a whole slew of content in that all the old monsters will be like coming back and getting a buff. So it's
Right.
not just like
Sure.
a new map. It's
I
a
gotcha.
new map with new things, plus all of the old things are being done up to match the level of the new things.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
there's going to be a whole mess of new content. So if anyone listening is interested in Monster Hunter games, they should definitely take a crack at Iceborne.
I want more
Is-
small
is-
monsters. I just feel like, I mean, I guess just more monsters in general would be cool, which they obviously did add, and I wasn't playing when they added too many more. I saw a couple new ones, but like, I feel like I was just repeatedly killing the same like 4 monsters, and I just like, it'd be fun to kill some more little dudes like that, some random little guys running around, but not
Yeah.
too many.
Well, once you reach the end of the game, it's a grind of like the same 5 things. The point of Iceborne coming out is it gives you new things to kill, right? So you're not just killing the same thing.
Right. Is Iceborne a good point to jump into the game if you've never played it before, or is it like more end game content?
It gives you a new end game.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be like you just buy the game and pick up Iceborne and you can jump in right away.
I
It
gotcha.
would be if you want to blow through the whole game and finish the story, because there is a story to Monster Hunter. It's not the most pristine story you've ever seen, but there is a story.
It's a Japanese Capcom game, so yeah, you can expect the story to be, something.
It is there. So if you want to blow through the story and not like grind out the end game, but you enjoy Monster Hunter and you get some stuff from the end game, then you can pick up Iceborne and move into a new place and have some new things to do and just enjoy things more. It'll give you, I don't know exactly how much. The story of Monster Hunter will last you about, give or take, like 20, 30 hours-ish. Iceborne should add like at least double that time if you want to go back and kill some of the old things again to get newer versions and see like if they've changed the attacks. I don't know if they're going to. They probably will, because new attacks, new things going on with the old monsters to refresh the experience and give it to you so you're not just doing the same thing over again for a new reward.
Right.
And it's a nice quality of life thing,
Right. Okay.
I'm bad at ranting about things, but
That's
I'm excited for
that's good.
Iceborne, and other people that are excited about Monster Hunter should be excited about Iceborne too.
So if you like relaxing and riding T-Rexes while you're stabbing them in the back, that's the
Exactly.
game for you.
This is the game for you.
It is.
I'm a big dinosaur fan. Maybe Iceborne could get me into the Monster Hunter world.
If you want to play Monster Hunter, I will play it with you.
Yeah, regular Monster Hunter already has dinosaur-esque things, so...
Nick, what do you got?
Yeah, you got anything exciting?
Have you guys heard of an upcoming TV show called The Boys?
Oh, you cut out. What is it?
The Boys?
The Boys.
I have no.
No.
Is it about us?
No, it is not about you. It's an upcoming superhero TV show. It's going to be a black comedy. So it's basically going to explore a group of superheroes who I believe are, kind of embracing the darker side of their celebrity and fame, right? So, and then it's also going to focus on a group of not really superheroes, I would say vigilantes, who are trying to, I guess, discredit these superheroes, quote unquote, because of their darker side or whatever. It's going to be an Amazon series, and it looks pretty funny, but it definitely looks pretty dark. I watched a trailer for it not too long ago, and the pilot is set to come out in 3 days. They have already confirmed a second season.
Ooh.
So
Get a little ahead of themselves, aren't
yeah,
they?
so I think they have some confidence in how the show's going to do.
What kind of comic is it based on?
I don't think it's based on a comic.
Oh, okay.
I think it's just a superhero show that they've been talking about making for quite some time. They were trying to make a movie of it, years ago, and then that kind of fell through. Then the TV show rights originally was getting written by Seth Rogen a few years ago, and then due to scheduling issues or whatever, it was then passed along to other people. Finally, they got people to sit down and write it, and yeah, it's going to be a thing. But it does look very dark. I'm talking definitely Deadpool dark. The very first clip I saw in the trailer was basically a superhero with super speed who was like fucking up and like running into civilians and killing them.
Oh my god.
Not just like killing them though. Like the first scene that I saw in the trailer was literally a guy holding hands with a friend, and like the guy with super speed ran into the girl and it like ripped off her. So
God.
it's gonna be dark for sure, but it's listed as comedy. Comedy,
Okay.
whatever you want to say. It's a superhero comedy show. So
Interesting. I do like that take on it. It'd be kind of cool.
I think it looks like the main villain of the show, not villain, is like a superhero who's really famous and like he's kind of just like a major dick. But like you don't really see it because it just hides behind all that fame of like doing a few good things.
So it's kind of like if the superhero world was GTA and the superheroes are controlled by normal people.
Sure. Sure. That's it. Yeah, so if you're really into super, check that out, but it could be a difficult watch for certain.
Sounds like also if you're into really black comedies and not so much into superheroes, you might enjoy it.
Yeah, you might enjoy it as well. Yeah,
True.
your discretion best.
The Boys is a comic series, by the way.
Oh, it is a comic series.
Uh-huh.
Get one up.
Developed by Wildstorm and then Dynamite Entertainment, which I've heard of neither of them. So
Not.
it's an indie comic, so not part of any of the big ones.
What? Shoot, what is that? Umbrella Academy.
Ooh,
Oh, same people?
Ever watch that? I know, not the same people,
Uh,
but just another superhero TV show. Season 1, obviously, already on Netflix.
no, never touched that for some reason.
It's good.
I enjoyed the first season.
Yeah, I did too.
It wasn't as superhero-esque as I would have liked. It didn't it was a good starting of season 1.
Yeah,
I would
it
have liked
might-
to see them use their powers a little bit more, but overall, I still really much enjoy the TV show.
yeah, I feel like them being superheroes is kind of like backstory and potentially in the future, but not in that season. Like,
Yeah, yeah, I agree. That season did a really good job. I don't know, just overall plot.
yeah, it was good character build and stuff. And
Yeah,
Obviously,
character
everyone.
development was great. Joe, did you see that series?
I have not. I
Oh.
should, because I like Gerard Way and I like superheroes,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't.
yeah,
Right, so for those of you that don't know, singer, right?
Yeah, he's the lead
Oh.
singer of My Chemical Romance.
My Chemical Romance, yep. So, just, I never read the comics, but a great show. I'm sure season 2 is going to be fantastic as well. Season 1 ended quite the cliffhanger.
yes, and did
So,
Were they hanging off a cliff?
literally just by a pinky,
Oh.
all of them attached. to
all of them,
Oh.
they were hanging on to each other.
They're hanging on to each other's pinkies?
Yeah,
Yes.
that too. There's
Like,
a chain
like
of people hooked together.
It looked more like monkeys in a barrel.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah.
It's a solid image. Maybe I should just watch the last episode just to see that.
It was certainly enjoyable.
Have you ever done that before? Just watch the last thing of something?
So I have not done that, but I recently, when watching the finale of Game of Thrones,
That's right.
I
Yeah.
was with Isaac, who was watching Game of Thrones for the first time, and was watching the finale, and then decided to start watching Game of Thrones immediately after. We were discussing it the other day, and he's like, he's like 5 seasons in. He's like, the show's really great so far. He's like, I just really wish I didn't watch the last episode because I could just sort of predict a lot of things that are happening.
I've definitely had to do a book, or had to read a certain amount of pages for something for a class, and read the last page of what I was supposed to read. But I don't know if I've ever just watched the last episode, because it just ruins it for no reason unless you don't want to watch it.
Right. But you just want to be caught up on it, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't think I've done that.
I haven't ever done it. I've thought about it, but I haven't done it.
I gotta say, in Deep Space Nine, I didn't finish that. I started watching a random episode because I saw that Commander Riker was in it, and I was like,
Oh,
I gotta
yeah.
watch it. But I stopped myself, so
I will say I really wanted, when the last season of Daredevil came out, I really just wanted to see Vincent D'Onofrio, or that's that. D'Onofrio, whatever. I meant to say Kingpin, though. I just wanted to see Kingpin fight Daredevil. So I almost skipped to the last episode, but thank God I didn't, because that was a fantastic series.
And it will never be airing again.
Such shades. Very disappointed in that decision.
Yeah, well, everyone's got to have a streaming service, so.
Now they do, that's for sure. Now I'm disappointed that Netflix won't sell the rights back.
Oh, really? That's what's happening?
I'm assuming so. Otherwise, why wouldn't Marvel just keep making it on their streaming service?
Maybe they have plans to? I don't know.
Maybe they need to re-sign all the actors because they're not signed with Marvel, right? So.
Well, they're signed under Marvel because it's not completely owned by Netflix.
Okay.
It's still I don't know the specific contract negotiations, but
You don't know their contracts by heart?
no, I have not read their contract.
And you call yourself a fan?
Yeah, right. I did not read the terms of agreement.
Should read those.
Oh, you don't read the terms of agreements? I always read those things.
Yeah, every time.
You sign yourself every time.
That's why I spend 80% of my life reading user agreements.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you accept them all anyway?
No, not all the time.
Oh, okay.
When I read one of them,
I still accept every single one.
See, I bought an iPhone and then I read the terms of service and I decided to not accept it, but I didn't return the iPhone.
Yeah, I still got the iPhone. So then I bought an Android and didn't like those either, so don't have a phone right now.
so, so that's why I haven't been opening your messages.
Did you go back to Rotary?
Don't know what that is, so.
You don't know what a rotary phone is?
Oh, like you push it around the circle thing. Okay.
You push it around the circle, yep. People are going to be able to easily tell what age we are.
Hey, at least do we all have house phones here? I got a house phone.
Yeah, I have a house phone.
Not anymore. Got rid of it.
Oh,
I feel like we're rare.
That's fair.
This has been the Alliance of Nerds. Thank you for listening to our first podcast. This has been Michael.
I've been Cam.
I've been Nick.
And I've been Joe.
And we're going AFK. We'll see you next time.